In the past, I've tried to get road tubeless tyres to work reliably. I failed, and there's a video about that down below. However, I may have failed because I was trying to apply tubeless technology to relatively narrow tyres. In the end, I gave up and I went back to tubes. More recently, I got and fitted these Maxxis Rambler tyres. They're tubeless compatible. I had been using them with these TPU tubes and they were working reliably. However, as I have some tubeless valves and some tubeless sealant left over, I decided to try tubeless again. The first thing I did was fit this tyre with the tubeless valve and tubeless rim tape and inflate this without any sealant in. And it went up and it stayed up reasonably well. However, I looked around the tyre and I did find two very small holes where air was leaking out. So I thought, let's add the tyre sealant. That should seal those up. I added the sealant, pumped it up to about 45 psi, and when I looked around the outside of the tyre, those two holes were still leaking a little bit. So I put the holes at the bottom of the wheel in order for the sealant to coagulate around the holes, and left it for a little while. Now I've reinflated this back up to 45 psi and I'm going to look for those holes to see whether the sealant has worked. So here's one of the holes. As you can see, it's still leaking. Let's see if I can find the other hole. I can hear a very high-pitched squeal. Don't know if you can hear it on the video. Unfortunately, that hole is still leaking too. My Stan's no tube tyre sealant doesn't appear to be working. The good news is the sealant has caused the rate of leakage to be much reduced. I think this tyre would stay up for at least half an hour, possibly an hour. That may allow me to get home. However, although it's slowed down the air leakage, it hasn't stopped it. What I'm going to do now is rotate this wheel several times, leave it overnight to see whether these holes seal. It's now the next day, about 16 hours later, and the tyre pressure is now probably too low to ride on, but it is staying up a little bit. So now I'm going to try pumping it up again and see whether the pressure remains in there. And the one hole is still leaking. Let's see if I can find the other. So this is the second hole and that's still leaking too. I may have to go back to that inner tube. If you know what I'm doing wrong, let me know in the comment section.